When you ask questions, they're only about the relationship of one concept to another concept. It's all in the mind. What's the relationship between self and other? Between inner and outer? Between I and thou? And the mind and the subconscious? Between the absolute and the relative? Between the noumenal and the manifest? These are all just, Nisargadatta would say, bullshit. Well, actually, Ed would say that. But Nisargadatta would say, drop the concepts. Robert would say, drop the concepts, because you can never think your way out of the box. The mind has to drop, and that's what I've been trying to teach you with chanting, with meditation, with reading the Nisargadatta Gita, listening to sacred music, going inside and abiding in the self, finding the self. It gets so the consciousness drops within into the inner emptiness. The mind drops away, and you can function without the mind. Become dumb as a rock. But some of you practice so strongly, so intently, you really do become dumb as a rock. That's a precondition where the mind doesn't function and you drop into samadhi. But so many don't want to do that. They want to be fully functional all the time and be in control and know what's going on and be strong and manifest themselves. They really don't like being helpless and knowing nothing. Filled with concepts. So, at one point, in order to shut up my dinner mates, I came spontaneously to a demonstration. This is the audio-visual part of our satsang tonight. I took the placemat, green on one side, clear white on the other. Said, imagine, on this green side and out here is all of consciousness. That's everything you see, the room, even your hand, the lights, the food, the person across from you, me. This is all on this side is consciousness. But on this side of the white side, there's nothing, no consciousness. Not nothingness being observed, the void being observed like you can do, but nothing, no consciousness, no subconsciousness, no nothing. Your essential nature, the noumenal self, is on this side. On this side is consciousness and the I am. And there's a connection point between the unmanifest, the absolute witness, and consciousness on this side, the green side, which is this little point, the I am. And this is where you look through from nothingness into consciousness, sort of like as a physical demonstration only. This is a metaphor. You peek out of nothingness and you become manifest here in the world. But most of you think you're the finger. You are manifest in the world, and you identify yourself with this finger. But really, you're the fist from which this finger comes, and you can't know anything about the fist, because only what you know is in consciousness, the I am. This is what you see out here. This is what you hear. This is what you touch. This is what you taste. This is what you feel. But what you really are is this side which is blank and empty, and there's no awareness whatsoever of inside. Now, this analogy only goes so far. This is for the physical senses. But actually, after you practice yoga and meditation for a while, you do see inside. You begin seeing on this side of the blank wall. At first, when you look inside, you just see darkness. There's nothing there. Sometimes you start by seeing a light between the two eyes, the third eye, that spreads, opens up, and gradually spreads over a period of 6 months or a year until it spreads throughout one's entire sense of presence. Then you feel a vast emptiness inside, too, which gradually becomes illuminated through meditation. And you can read about it. It's the emptiness of the self. It's the inner space, lighted by consciousness. Consciousness itself provides its own illumination. So gradually, what was on this side, all of the external world as observed by the senses, that's all that we know. But after a while practicing meditation, we begin to fill out this inner world. This inner world is of the mind. It's called the subtle body. It has no more reality than the external world. But it has all of the emptiness. It has the void, the internal void that one perceives. The eternal void that one perceives has the essential character of spaciousness and time. And the external world has an equivalent, space outside and the passage of time. But still there's a witness of all this witnessing. Still there's a witness that stands behind this and then watches the emptiness inside the body, watches the arising of emotions inside the body. As you become more advanced in your meditation and your spiritual work, all of this inner world is also witnessed, and in a sense, you've moved backwards. You might say this is the area of the subtle body, of the mind. And you move backwards into the causal body. This is where you begin to go unconscious. You're sitting in meditation and you start to feel like you're going to sleep. Sometimes it's sleep, and sometimes it's just going into this deeper layer of consciousness, way back here. And when you go deep enough, even this disappears. Consciousness disappears. The subtle body disappears. And you're left in a state of waking sleep where there's nothing. Just awareness of awareness. But you say, so what? In a sense, that's true. So what? It's just another appearance, another level of beingness. And what we are has nothing to do with this. To this witness in the causal body, even behind that, there's a deeper, deeper self. The one that Ramana Maharshi talks about. The one Robert talks about. The one Nisargadatta talks about as prior to consciousness. The ultimate witness, Parabrahman, the absolute. That's untouched by all of these levels of consciousness. Most ordinary people are just aware of the external world and a little bit of the internal world. They're aware of feelings as they arise, but they're not aware of the emptiness. They're aware of emotions. They're aware of anger. They're aware of when their stomach hurts them or they have indigestion. But they're not aware, like you are, of all the different internal worlds. The subtle body and all the experiences there, the flowing of love, the feelings of ecstasy, the feeling of devotion, the feeling of surrender. None of that are most ordinary people aware of. But by developing spiritual practice, you become aware of these things. But even them you have to leave behind and go deeper. Deeper into the unknown. Deeper into unknowing itself. Because we clamor after knowing and knowledge and understanding. But we have to get deeper than mind, deeper than the emotions, into the causal body, and eventually into Parabrahman, where you can watch the coming and going of consciousness. And many of you I know are aware, even during your sleep, of the coming and going of consciousness. You see it doesn't touch you. You're not affected. One moment you're awake, the next moment you're asleep, the next moment you're dreaming, the next moment you're awake again. And you feel the same as these levels of consciousness, these states of consciousness go by you. Conscious awareness comes and goes. Dreams come and go. Sleep comes and goes. And all the time, you're not touched and you feel aware and awake. And then you know that none of these states of consciousness have anything to do with you. You're beyond them. This is what I try to teach. There's more to it than that. Far more. But this is like the major first step. You're not the body. You're not the mind. You're not consciousness. Later on, you also discover that you do create the whole thing. But it's not you as an individual John or Alan or Keith or Ryan or Tim or Ed. It's the nature of the universal consciousness to create this, which you also are. But that gets a little complicated, and I like to keep things simple. One step at a time. Just first realize that you are that which is beyond consciousness altogether. And then there's the music as new method, which is to combine this going into the infinite with becoming totally human. A hybrid of bhakti and jnana. What I've been talking about is pure jnana. Robert's way, Ramana's way, Nisargadatta's way. But now I'm adding the element of passion, passionate love for knowledge, love for another, love for truth, surrender, God, passion. Without passion in Advaita, it's so easy to become lost. Lost in the emptiness, to be peaceful and feel nothing. Not be touched by emotions. I just was contacted by a woman yesterday who said she was in a place for a long time and still is of great peace, of spaciousness and emptiness. But there were no more emotions. How do I get my emotions back? How do I get my feelings back? How do I get my humanity back? Well, there's one way, which is the Nisargadatta way of concentrating on the I am, which I've been using as a meditation tool. Read the Nisargadatta Gita, concentrate on the I am. Love the I am. Immerse yourself in the I am. Listen to sacred music, because sacred music paralyzes the mind and allows the heart to function. And it brings out ecstasy and sometimes the flow of love. So you meditate on the Nisargadatta Gita. You fixate on the feeling of self, of your existence. Read Nisargadatta. Love yourself. Love that sense of existence. Or, if you're lucky, someone or something comes along that you love deeply, and it awakens in you that passion, that energy that fills out your sense of presence, that enlightens your beingness, fills you with energy, and the spiritual path becomes so easy then. You just follow your heart. It's like your head disappears. The mind goes into the background. and you operate from here. For me, sometimes it feels like everything above here is gone, and I'm just walking through life from my heart. There's no conflict, perfect presence, no confusion, perfect peace. But there's so many concepts to get through here. Like I mentioned, it's easy to get rid of the spiritual concepts because you only got those in the last few years about Atman and Brahman, existence and non existence, the self and not self, karma, reincarnation, rebirth, the sayings in the various Gitas that talk of emptiness. And some people hold on to these concepts so strongly